Vodafone, MSI, DHL, Alienware, Betway, Logitech G, and PaySafeCard.
Holy moly, would you believe it? Big Clan have brought it back here on Train, and the Cologne Cathedral is just about ready to blow the top off. I'm here with Mika, one of the big fans on the tournament floor here, and my goodness, man, what a showing.
Yeah, it was just great. Every shot was being cheered for, and like the crowd's going crazy for Big. I love it.
It looks like the crowd here is going crazy for Big, and in fact, all of the United Kingdom citizens are also just kind of bought into the Smoothie project.
Yeah, it's just great. Like, everyone is such in a good mood, and yeah, I have no word for it.
No word for it. Now, he tried to teach me a little bit of German before we started this segment, so I'm just gonna see what happens here, all right? Auf geht's Big. Is that right?
Auf geht's Big! Let's go! Wir machen die FaZe hier fertig!
Woo. FaZe in a third map. That's where we're going. It's gonna be Inferno. You don't want to miss it. But first, we're going to be going to the desk with the boys. Take it away, guys.
Right, Trace, try and get out of there safely. But yes, absolutely, it is crazy. The tension, the excitement, the support is palpable here in the Lanxess Arena. We go to a third big. No one expected to see them make the quarterfinals, never mind a third map versus FaZe Clan here in the Lanxess Arena. Whatever it is, they just have to keep doing it, because everyone is enjoying this journey, apart from perhaps FaZe after that one. I do have YNK and Thorin hanging out with me, and we have a big conversation to be had. Train, admittedly, you already outlined that you weren't expecting much from FaZe's T side. Big choosing to start on the T side of their own, and it looked great.
I mean, which speaks in itself, the fact that we were surprised. You know, we didn't expect much from the T side. It was their pick, and at the end, after this whole game, you didn't really see some mad improvements from FaZe on their T side. But yes, of course, Big, early on, that mad round that we just saw here on the replay, they were up 6-1. And then FaZe started coming back, and I think Big made a crucial mistake towards the later part of that first half. They were saving guns in different rounds, which then obviously distorts the money. When you save a gun, you don't get bonus money for the next round. And even if your teammates eco, the next gun round, you only get maybe 2,400, right? Not enough for a gun and armor and utility. And that's why 3 or 4 rounds in a row, Big was having some weird half buys, half of the team on pistols, half on rifles. And that's where, on the other side, you had Nico and Guardian on the double off, and they really turned it on. And from 6-1 up, it ends up FaZe winning 8 consecutive rounds to end the half 9-6.
There was so much to be discussed here, Duncan. I mean, there were individual rounds. This one from Croman was inexplicable. I mean,
It's going to be game over already if they lose this.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't know if FaZe arrived in a clown car today, but I don't know what's going on their T-sides at the moment. This is an absolute nightmare. Summarized by that particular round where they lost when they had full guns, they had control basically of the inner sight if they wanted it, and we had Nico lose that bizarre duel up close at the stairs, and then from that Smooth you got 3 kills with the CZ. So that alone kind of summarized to me how the game completely went, except for that Croman clutch, against FaZe the whole way pretty much.
And a big part of me started glowing seeing Smooya semi-finals now, top of the scoreboard, AWPing on Train versus the likes of Guardian. It's crazy to see his development and how he has landed on his feet. I do want to see what you've got for us here at the Telestrator then.
Yeah, so the Smooya round from behind, that was just prior to the round I'm going to show you, and you said like the support is palpable, the frustration was palpable for FaZe, because when you look at this round, keep an eye out for Nico, Rain, and the minimap actually, because FaZe right after that, no timeout, fast push outside. Nico does this very often, just jumps out to the right, gets a free kill. They're still fighting. Rain now gets a second kill into the site, and this is where we need to keep an eye out on a different player, and that's going to be Carrigan. Keep an eye out on the minimap. You can see that 2 of the big players are focused towards Ivy. Tizian is in CT Con. Carrigan, who plants the bomb, then there's a molly here. He walks into the molly, but he aggressively searches for a duel after that behind the bomb train, which is so weird. In a 4v3 situation, why are you still aggressing? Why are you fighting for more? In the meanwhile, you can see how tabseN went for that flank. There's no point in him being next to Smuja. Rain misses his spray a little bit here. Tizian gets the punish, tabseN gets the flank, and the round falls apart for FaZe. And I would have picked out the round before this if this did not happen, because that was the round who forced them into the frustration. But they had it. They could have gotten the reset back in. Bomb planted 4v3.
Yeah.
Just hold. Just hold. You knew the two players were in Ivy. Third one is either going to come CT Con or Pop behind. He's not going to come backlines as the third guy. So I think that was actually a big mistake from Karrigan. I think the frustration took over him because he was the last player alive in the previous round in the 1v2. And I think that was just a big blunder, because if you save that, last round doesn't count. You reset them again, you're 14-13 up, and you can just finish the game after that point.
I mean, you've put a spotlight on Karrigan. I think we will too. It's a perfect opportunity. Let's take a closer look at him before we talk about the third.
We ended up here in FaZe now, where we kind of built the team I was supposed to do when I started FaZe. We have been proven to make an international team finally work in CSGO. And I think we're the first team to actually successfully do it and replicate that as being top 1. We found a team and a composition of what FaZe wants to represent, and I'm happy to be part of the whole journey. I think after Astralis, FaZe gave me kind of a lifeline, coming with this want to be the best team in the world. So yeah, it's a kind of a fulfillment for me, becoming #1 and #2 in the world for a longer time with Astralis, and then doing it again with FaZe Clan, meaning I bring something to the table that people enjoy playing with and people believe it's the right way to play CS. Maybe it's the leadership I come with that brings the players who wants to play for FaZe, and I'm not kind of that leader that wants to tell everybody how to do everything. I want them to like their role within what I ask them to do. People have 4 different approaches, and we all have to be meeting on the middle to become the best team we can. And I think we finally did that. Maybe other people could have done the same as an in-game leader, but obviously had a big impact coming into FaZe since they didn't have a real in-game leader at that point. But in the end, I think everybody on this team right now has the same importance. We are currently in an unknown situation, how long we play with stand-in and how long Olof needs a break. We have only lost to Astralis in the last 3 tournaments, and that was in the playoffs. So they're currently the best team in the world, but I also think that every time they play us, they still feel a little in us. Even if we have a stand-in, they always had issue with us. Both teams have the biggest goal right now, and that is to win the Grand Slam. Every time we go different places, we connect with the fans locally, and I think that's very amazing. Playing in Odense in front of a Danish crowd was one of the most amazing feelings I had. In Sydney, we had so many fans where they were cheering for us and were heartbroken the way we lost. And this time we could feel the crowd on our side. So I feel like every time we are at the big tournaments, we have a lot of fans in the crowd who cheer for us, even if we win or lose. It really benefits us because we get the energy from the crowd shouting. That you can feel in our players, and this is where they play the best CS, at the big stage, where if you lose the match, you're out. If you win, you're through. And that is where it all counts, in my opinion. Cologne is the maker of Counter-Strike because every single fan is coming and there's no home crowd. And this is what I love about Cologne. Everybody is just cheering for great Counter-Strike, and that is, for me, the most important thing about Cologne. Every time I go to Cologne, I have something I do what I don't do at other tournaments. That is basically sitting in front of my PC, just looking out on the crowd, and it's so deep in Cologne. You can't even see the last fan. It is a different feeling, and it will always be the most important event for me. Ich bin halt deutsch. Also ich habe eine große Familie hier in Deutschland und heute sitzen die in der Cologne Arena und gucken mir zu. Und ich hoffe, alle die deutschen Fans, die heute zugucken, dass ihr für FaZe alles gibt.
They say Karrigan's a master of besotting a crowd. I think it's going to be a hard journey for him to do so here. We venture into a third, and the streets of Cologne are barren, empty, as everyone gathers to the Lanxess Arena to see how our third map plays out. It ends here. The big dream. Would it really be possible to see them step into the grand finals tomorrow? FaZe have the opportunity to get closer to that Intel Grand Slam, and it all comes down to Inferno. It's the historic third map decider.
Yeah, I mean, players often get lost themselves in the midst of a series, and they lose track of the big picture, you look at this series, and I would give Big Train, and I would still comfortably give FaZe both Dust 2 and Inferno. Okay, Dust 2 was a very close
not
affair,
so comfortable.
but FaZe are still very much a massive favorite coming into this map. But looking at how flustered they were, but that, you know, anti-eco loss towards the end of Train, you are scared for them whether they're going to fall into a similar trap like G2 did on Dust 2 yesterday.
Duncan, similar sentiment from you? Are FaZe being flustered, or is this just going to be one of those ones where suddenly all hell breaks loose and we see that 16-1?
If we get the traditional hard set between maps and the last maps are forgotten, I absolutely think FaZe are the favorite here. The problem is, thus far in the series, the best player has been Nex, and he's actually had this massive performance. We didn't speak about it much on Train there, because he was just getting the boring kills, you know, 2 kills every key round. It felt like he wasn't the guy closing the rounds out. So he's played fabulously. Meanwhile, on the other side of the equation, the guy I feel like who's been the most quiet on the FaZe side, it's got to be Guardian. Even though it's not like he's being directly shut down, I think just the presence of Smoothie, the fact that Smoothie takes these aggressive angles, he waits for the other AWPer, seems to be throwing Guardian off a little bit. And he's the guy where normally he's the Iceman, you know he's going to come out, he's going to win those clutches, he's going to hold his angles. At the moment, hasn't really had much of an impact on the game.
I think for FaZe, the most important thing is just play this game as if you don't know who your opponent is. Don't look at the names, don't look at the name of the team, and just play CS as it should be played. I think they're overthinking a few situations. Of course, you know that your opponent likes to play a lot of gun rounds. They want to have good economy so they can buy and use all utility. There's no map where that's more important than Inferno. So obviously you take that into account, but in some of these rounds, you know, they seem either to panic or rounds get out of hand where they should just finish them off.
Now, it maybe seems silly to start harking back to a previous series, but they did beat MIBR on this map, and they're no slouch.
And something that was very reminiscent to me watching those series, it very much reminded me of the FaZe Cloud9 game from the Major, because what Big did in that game, they were saving utility a lot, they were leaving Smooya alone in Banana with the AWP, and they were playing 4A, and MIBR didn't do a really good job of chasing him off, forcing a rotation before they would hit the site. They were constantly running into stacks, right? So if FaZe did their research, if they watched that game live even, they will know that that's something they need to watch out for, and especially considering their prior experiences in similar scenarios.
I mean, it's not unlike Carrigan to have done his research, right, Duncan? I mean, it's safe to assume both Godby and Carrigan have come in with a loaded notebook.
Sure. But thus far in this series, the T-sides have been so weak from FaZe Clan, you feel like they have to be putting a lot of stock in that CT side. They need a big, big game, because the last thing you want, do we know which side they start on in this one?
They knife the sides, I believe.
Oh, okay, yes. So I feel like the CT side has to be big just to take the pressure off them, because we've seen how they slowed the game down. Meanwhile, on the big side, what I have to say in their favor is, in all these matches I've seen in the playoffs, whether they win or lose the map, they don't play scared. They actually play as if they think that they can win these scenarios. They try the aggressive rotations, flanks. People do push through, take on crazy shots. Obviously embodied by Smooya, who's kind of that one-and-done AWPer, but if he hits that shot, it can open a whole game up. So at the moment, as much as they're the underdogs, they've played like they actually think they're going to win this third one, whereas, yes, the expectations are that FaZe should win, but the expectations were they should have 2-0'd the series already.
It is absolutely mad to see how far this has gotten. This story, usually the Cinderella stories end pretty abruptly in Counter-Strike. We get excited, we get on the edge of our seat and find ourselves firmly pushed to the back of our seat quite quickly. This time, it's going all the way. Inferno, though, is going to be this final battle. And I do have to ask a couple of questions of players to watch and win conditions. I want to have a nice list for either so we can see which is fulfilled. Janko, I'll throw Big towards you. Is it just time to start listing off players, or is there more to it?
I would pick out Smooya, because in that game versus MIBR, I think he won them the game by getting them into overtime in a round where he saved the op and the rest of the team was on pistols. You know, he made a massive play, and he doesn't make a play every single gun round. Sometimes he just dies, but there are rounds where he has a lot of impact, and considering he's the guy who's going to be in Banana a lot, it's not just about where he gets the kills, it's does he overextend at times. He needs to be smart towards that area of the map, because FaZe is a team that they're going to punish you real hard and real quick if you overextend.
And for FaZe Clan, I mean, it's kind of crazy when you look at the firepower comparison, Duncan. I imagine if you were sitting at home here and not part of this arena, this experience, and seeing it live, you'd look at it on paper and think this should be a done deal. I mean, you've got Nico versus Tizian.
Absolutely, but that's actually been one of the factors, I think, is Nico's looked fabulous on both CT sides. Where's he been on the T sides? This is a guy who could do so much for this squad, so I'm going to pick him as my player for Inferno, because if they're going to have that big CT half, I think playing over at that B site, you sometimes see him secondary AWPing. That could be a key if they want to hold that, if they want to get a big double-digit. If they're going to open up holes, though, that's where I think Godby can exploit them.
And he and they can get punished, and they used to get punished in the past, right? Especially if they give banana control up early and Big has a lot of utility left. You know they're going to have a B execute with the molly for dark, molly for new boxes and everything, right? And in that sense, when you have an opera inside, there's not much he can do. He's mollied out of cover. He can get flashed in the open, obviously, so it's usually a one-and-done deal, or you fall back behind the smoking ruins, but then you give up the side. So a lot of man games coming into this one, Alex.
It is two storied in-game leaders clashing. The underdog has bared its teeth, and Big take us to a third. FaZe Clan won that grand final. Everyone thought they had it, and Big can shatter all of that in front of the home crowd. Sadakist and Henry G to fill your ears and this arena.
That much hype, sometimes you think you might miss casting, but we are going to do exactly that, Henry. Inferno map 3, deciding moment between FaZe and Big.
An epic series it's been so far. Inferno often the decider of these great series. We're getting right into the action here. It will be next to find the first frag. Takes down Carrigan. Goldbeat's getting stuck in as well. This is super aggressive as the CTs keep finding frags. 3 in total so far. Make it a 4th. And Nico left in a 5 versus 1, but he does get a bomb down here, Matt. That at least is some money. But what a fantastic start from the Big squad here. Going to be nading towards the site. See if Nico can get anything done here.
Fine from next. Shot back through the box, Nico down immediately with the aggressive start, which we saw from them already in this tournament on this map. Specifically, Smooya down middle. Big will open up with a pistol, an all-important pistol on the CT side. What a great third map to have as well.
Absolutely. It always provides epic games. The fact Big have won a pistol sets them up very well. Who would have thought coming into this tournament in the semi-final with Big here at all? Then up against FaZe, think I'll get blown out the water. We're in the third map now. We've been to overtime in the first, and they've won the pistol. There is a good chance that Big could actually see the grand final against Na'Vi. That is baffling to even say, but there it is. It will be the force fight in the second round from FaZe. They've got Mac 10s here and UMPs. It works out for one, but Tizian is getting it done. He's run out of bullets. Oh no, Guardian! He's killed his own teammates. That's an absolute disaster, but still recoverable. Goes down to the 3 versus 2.
He's inside of the site, Guardian as well. 17 to watch because the HP next knows, and he's back through the smoke.
Oh my God. We have been treated to some incredible moments here. Round 3. No AKs this time, Matt. That was a huge gamble from FaZe to get Mac 10s and UMPs and rush B. The calls on the T side, as Duncan pointed out, have not been ideal. Haven't looked like themselves on the T side at all. Goodness gracious. We get into another force buy. What is this? So they're going to have 1 AK here. CZs, a UMP. They're going to try and do what they can. This is very unorthodox from FaZe. But they do get the first frag, trying to bait in the fact they will be full eco, and Big maybe a little bit overzealous here. This could all fall apart, absolutely. The questionable call seems to be absolutely everything here. Now goes to the 5-on-2. Tizian walks around the corner, beats Guardian, bomb down.
Good find. Right, these purchases and saying that they're so aggressive for FaZe. It's unorthodox. Tizian will flash back out, smoke still down toward the T-stairs.
It does make sense that Big want to get aggressive there. They want to shut that round down nice and early, want to get in there, just kill those Glocks. No armor, but they jump down the jaws of FaZe there. Absolutely incredible scenes. 4-on-2 now with bomb. Still down, less than a minute remaining. Tizian trying to use that smoke as long as he can, but that should be it now. Tizian will pull one more back. And look at the HP of Nico. There is a slight chance he pulls this one off, but they have got the bomb, and they've booked it towards the A-bomb side.
That backside of the smoke over and over, Tizian. Very good turnaround from FaZe, all things considered, because it looked like they were in control of the situation. Now he suddenly realizes that that M4 becomes coveted, and it won't even be held on to as Nico shuts him down. It pays off for FaZe to go aggressive early with their purchasing. They find a 2-1 scoreline.
Yeah, that was a scary call to make by Carrigan, but one that works out for him. That single AK of Rain was enough. And Big almost played himself with that very aggressive round, but Just goes to show you how many steps ahead Carrigan is. He's kind of read the situation, maybe knows the tendencies, maybe they like an aggressive push in Inferno once this starts happening. And there will be no force buy in response. Big will let this one go. PD50's USPs, no armor, no nades.
Tov over the half wall. Immediately Kerrigan checks behind them. Barrels, and they get a lot closer and a lot quicker as well. Still a minute and 29, Nico almost making contact with the B site, in which there are 3 opponents to try and hold off. Make it 4 as they rotate back over. Orange's 1 boost, CT held no boost on Flowers. Nico and Kerrigan go. Crossfire 6!
No.
King next finds the first, he's following it up, he's pushed back through it, now Smooya trades off, but don't get carried away just yet. It's still a 2 versus 2, and Croman controls the situation, jumps up, spots behind the fountain. Last remaining player, Godby, if he was close by and also in part of the stack, he might have been able to trade off distraction, but now he has to rotate into 2 AK-47, so FaZe should be able to control it.
They should, especially with Godby, no armor, just the CZ. My God, did that get chaotic there. A full eco defeat, and Godby can still win this one. He's got the UMP now, Matt. This would be absolutely absurd. He's got the Dinkin. He has the advantage here as he encroaches on Croman's position. Godby has done it! 2 versus 1, bomb down, and somehow pulls it off of no armor, no utility. And it's an absolute collapse from FaZe. Once again, they've opted to go for a fast B approach against the Pistols. When will they learn their lesson? Oh my goodness, Godby. If ever there was a time to turn up, that was absolutely sensational. Oh, there he is, trying to contain himself.
Yes, yeah, let's not have another meme-worthy moment on stage.
Wow.
It's difficult. I mean, look, I'm talking specifically about the major against Cloud9, in which there was a rather broke-down image. You can't... He was laughing a little bit. He was chuckling about it. He would...
A slightly maniacal laugh, I would say.
Exactly. I mean, it's one thing to show emotions. It's another thing not to get them inside of your own head. Tapson holds toward the top side of middle. He's ready for when they walk around the corner. He actually takes 1 step out and spots the fact that they've run in from alt middle good. Incendiary, that's going to segregate them. Force Guardian forward, and it forces them into next. Tapson still holding, and Croman goes down. Just Nico. You can see the bomb. If that means anything, I'm not sure, because he's in a 1 versus 5.
What a series this has been. This is a fully bought up FaZe, just to note. You can see the leftover money, and Tabson completely decimates them. In round 5, Nico needs to get out of his own head here. He can't win this round, but maybe he can make it expensive at least, waiting for a mistake to be made. I don't think Big are going to be looking for 1 AK player anytime soon. They've got vision of the bomb. They've got 2 players there. They're watching for any sort of backstabs towards Banana. And Nico's just hoping they get impatient. Smooya. AWP nails the kill, clean sweep, and it's all about Tabson that round. 4-1, full eco now for FaZe.
Brilliant turnaround.
Yeah.
All comes to God. I mean, not all, but did clutch it back, to be fair. The stack as well, obviously, a part of that, but certainly comes down to that round. Double up setup, Smooya still going to be holding on to it. So CT side, rather obviously, Tapson is going to be the one to hold on to that second cannon, and it's working out tremendously well. I highly doubt we're going to see that on the T side, but how far can they carry that through this first half? Pistols yet again for FaZe. Tapson's rather aggressive considering. Has to back off because he's now realized, based on his teammates' call brilliantly, that they are toward the top side of middle. So next gets position. He finds Suit. Toe Suit is Tabs, and he'll go down. Leaving one of the ops on the ground. Do they get back toward it? Not quite. Okay, they did. So they got it back just barely. Next picked it up, and it goes 5-1.
5-1, but still very early days here, and the third and final map. Na'Vi waiting in the grand final. Out of the semis we had available, man. Na'Vi, Astralis, FaZe, Big. It seemed like a foregone conclusion who would be in that grand final.
Yeah, I think it would have been Astralis and FaZe.
Exactly, and now we're looking down the barrel of Na'Vi, Big. That's absolutely bizarre, but amazing at the same time. Very special event, this one, and these have been very special maps. Round 7, and there are AKs available, but no AWP for Guardian, not necessarily a big deal, but you can see the lack of utility for him. They don't have a full array of utility. And Tizian, he controls Banana for now. FaZe look caged almost, they've lost their flare. We know how good Big can be with the grenades, and a map like Inferno, HEs are everything. This will be a flash attack from the apartment. Oh my goodness, but Godbe's read it so well. He's burning them alive, but Croman does get the kill back in response.
And gets forward of the flames as well toward the pit. But a pit of death as Nex holds off and lets them fall to their death as immediately they fall in. It's Guardian that gets Tizian in return. Watch for Nico back inside of the corner. Smoothie and Tabson still with a double op. That means there's only one rifle in it. It is the man who found 2 kills, but with 20 HP. And Nico to not only get out of the apartments, get the bomb. In doing so, and Nex, even though he's low, has the headshot angle. It's all onto Guardian. He knows one's there certainly, but he'll bypass that for now, knowing that he's got to worry about it the inside of the site. 18 HP, and he's just gonna run. 27 seconds, can't go down after the time, so he's got to get distance between himself and the enemies now. It's 6-1 for Big.
Absolutely is. FaZe just can't get any sort of footing here, and Nex has looked like a superstar in this semi-final.
This is awkward for Guardian.
Oh, okay.
You know what? It's almost fine, because they can push in 7 seconds. Fair enough. He did turn around and put his attention toward Tabson, so he couldn't just stand there, but he gets him down either way.
Crowd is certainly loving the show that's being put on by Big right now. 6-1 as FaZe take a timeout. They seem mentally broken and financially, as we'll see, around $3,000 per player. Roban needs to pull them out of the pit of despair here. Next, just getting it done time and time again with the M4A4. Tabson's got a decent spawn for the T-steps. He knows he can challenge it as well. They don't have enough money for the AWP. Absolutely not. He can straight up challenge the T-steps. Go for that first pick. He could even face second middle with that spawn. Wouldn't advise that, considering he's up against the pistols, especially those deagles, but we'll see what he has up his sleeve. I'm sure he'll at least go for 1 kill at the very start of the round. Timeout. Unpause, 1 smoke. Everyone's going to be on pistols here. Croman, the only one of Kevlar. Takes himself down to 2,100. They've got 4 stage loss bonus. That means they get $3,400 per player to the next round. That's if they don't win it. There is a chance they win it. Maybe not.
Not if Godby keeps firing like that, takes down Nico. Down to the underpass, takes the deagle, and heads up toward the smoke. Rain's taking nade damage. Presumably, deep side B. In the hands of Kerrigan will follow Rain toward that position, and it looks as though they'll go with 3 players because a 4th to hold off and wait for rotations. The one to do so. Smoothie, meanwhile, toward Collins, jumps back up, good find. Rain down on the 2nd attempt, and as we see it from a different angle, the gunshot glared, and it's a Guardian, which dared to try and go inside of the site against it. Went down immediately. It's Croman that's going to wrap back around, but good luck. 1 versus 5, no chance.
There you have it. Against the pistols, Big look comfortable. Their money is beginning to swell. Smoothie's got $14,000. Everyone else hovering around the $5,000 to $8,000 mark. FaZe, what have they got to offer? They might even get a chance to show us how good their CT side can be. It's always been a bit of an up and down map for them. Mainly positive, but they have had some massive disasters here as well. Guardian does have the AWP for the first time on the T side now, but CT's looking to challenge once again. Look how effective those flashes are. Oh my goodness, so much damage inflicted by the incendiaries, but FaZe do find the first pick.
Nico's getting in toward the top of the net. I was going to say toward the site. Didn't quite go around the corner. Didn't chase it. Good movement to get on top of the wall.
Smoothie a chance again.
I was going to say, it's because his op's the gatekeeper at this point in time. 7-1 for Big. A German team in Germany.
Who would have thought?
World Cup on right now. Yes, all those references. Let's get them all out at once, Henry. Get rid of all your cliches.
Well, Smoothie now knows he needs to recover this. 5 players in front of him. He is good for 1 here. In his current position, he will fall back. But remember, They've got smokes, flashbang still. They save this utility to the last moment. Smooya drops that smoke in, flash to follow as well. They aren't out of this just yet, but he needs to be very careful. Have they got a chance of shutting this one down? God B looking for multiple frags here, but this is looking promising for FaZe. I think that might be the instant save call at this point.
That's a very well executed play from FaZe. Smooya went back out, couldn't find anything forward. As soon as he retreated the new box, 2 Molotovs down, he gets stuck in the middle, and the Rifles take the deed. Guardian immediately jumps up, Orange is one and covers off CT. They knew exactly what their, as the desk has coined it this weekend, what their flight patterns were.
Sure.
Flight paths, whatever
yes.
it was.
Yeah, basically their initial setups, what they do in their defaults, what kind of smokes they're throwing, and how they get themselves into the setup they want to. So there it is, FaZe. Challenge at the very start there, the incendiary flashbang combo always is a little bit dastardly. But they managed to get the kill required. Nico finds 2, Croman with 3rd. But Tabson will save the orb. 7-2 now as FaZe start to get into this map. But they did win the 3rd round force buy, but pretty bizarre manner as well. After force buy in the 2nd, they bring out Mac 10's UMPs and an AK in the 3rd was just unheard of. But here we go, next round, like I said, plenty of cash for the big side. Still, even after the reinvestment, Tabson has $10,000, Smooya with 8.
Smoke for Nico, top banana. Interesting to see the default be to run with a smoke, but obviously anticipating Molotovs to go down. He wants to extinguish them and be ready for it. Nade instead. Ooh, double nade. Tizian gets nailed. Smooya not so much. He sticks around to try and get the op shot down, but can't land it. Nade's okay. Nico meanwhile starts to clear out sandbags. The fact that there's smoke coming out of that chimney suggests that someone's home in that building while all of this is going around on outside. Just, lock the doors. Stay here. It'll be over soon.
Yeah, please
do
stay inside. Do not panic. Smooya waiting though to defend. And it's the same call from Carry again. That bomb site execution. This time it's a 5-on-5. 3 players from Big reside in the site. Smooya, another lead smoke from him. He's going to leave around 25 seconds on the clock before FaZe can even consider making their play. Oh, another smoke. This is what they've been so amazing at. Oh my goodness, it's just beautiful. How do FaZe even break the defense out? Tizian can play in front of that smoke. They're going to run through the gray screen, and here we go. This is what they've been famed for. The big squad and the utility usage. You don't need the aim. You don't need star players for this. It's perfect. This system works, and FaZe have no response for it.
Flash through. Smooya's gonna get aggressive even though they have the advantage. Not necessary, not required. 4 versus 2, they have the time though. And Nico takes out Tabson. They want to take down Guardian after the fact. That's no money for Guardian.
My goodness. That second smoke, you just don't expect it. We haven't seen play like this before. Usually the smoke is going to be used at the very start of the round.
Yeah,
like,
they're bled out by then.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're holding them off. You're using the smoke at the half wall, perhaps as a holding off for a little bit. They're waiting till there's 20 seconds of the clock to drop that final smoke. And Tizian's just got an absolute shooting gallery.
This does, you're right, but it does create the possibility that they can dictate the pace on the T side. If they can predict when those smokes are not going to be thrown early in the round, if they can get the map controller an early pick, it might change things.
That's a big if.
Yeah, so far, definitely 8-2 for Big. After forcing overtime on map 1, winning on map 2, which was Train, FaZe's choice, they find themselves up by 6 rounds.
Now going to force into this. They saved AK and the AWP. So CZ for Carrigan, UMP for Rain. It's actually a pretty decent buy, all things considered. Lose this one, you're 9-2 down, another eco up against you. They're only on the first stage loss bonus as well. Back towards B. Smooya, ready to challenge this time. Doesn't hit the initial shot. Guardian there with the AWP at the half wall. Smooya has to fall back as the flashbangs come in, but it's Rain that goes down. Got B went aggressive in the apartment. He dropped the smoke at the top of the steps there. He used it to look round towards the bedroom, takes down Rain with the AK-47 and finds him an early advantage. What a map God B is having. Not only did he win that sensational 2 versus 1 on the full eco, now he gets in the opening pick in what could be the most important round of the half yet.
Roman goes all the way back down from the apartments. He's going to join his teammates. There's no point lurking if they're going to go in 2 versus 3 with an early rotation as well. Already a man down, and they can't run the routes they want to. He needs to accompany them. He's got a smoke. He sets already toward logs. That'll go towards CT. Late smoke again thrown out by Big. Tizian still has his, as well as an incendiary on top of that B site, so there's more that they can deploy. Smooya, meanwhile, knows they're inside, has the pillar to play with, but can't quite pull off the dance that's attractive around a pole. You might expect this. Croman gets the shot back. It is next, though, back through the smoke, another double. Nico certainly has to turn around to recover the bomb, and Croman will cover off Banana, and doing so, immediately gets the plant down.
My goodness, next with the hero play. Pushes through the smoke, denies the plant, and buys Godby and tabseN some time here. AWP for tabseN. Flashbang lands directly in the face of Nico. They know exactly where he is, and he'll miss the shot. Held off by the Flames now. They know it locked him in the corner, but still, even blind, he finds it. tabseN now has got a gargantuan task ahead of him. Has to hit the no-scope here. He still has time to use it. Smokes on the bomb, and this could be one of the best full debuts we've seen so far. But Croman, he will find the instant kill, and it's going to be a 3rd round on the board for FaZe, but only 1 player survives. You know Big got plenty of cash. Nico, he still looks out of this game, man. He looks so dejected. He doesn't even want to celebrate really. He's really having to force that fist bump out. Roban's recognizing it, trying to keep his head in the game.
Even with that, he's got 8 kills. I've just clued into the fact that Nex has 17 kills already in 12 rounds.
Yeah, what a tournament he's had, a resurgence.
Yeah, Dust 2 led the way. We mentioned it, 34 kills even into overtime. So a 3rd round for FaZe. I will count them 1 at a time. They'll be the first of many teams to tell you that Inferno, get to 6, you give yourself a chance.
Absolutely. This is very CT side of the map. Tactical timeout though, called by FaZe. Back into it now. Remember, only 1 player survived. They don't really have that much cash. There'll be a UMP for Guardian, CZ for Carrigan, and 3 AKs. So not the worst of situations, but certainly compromises made. Lose this round, it could be double eco territory, especially if that bomb doesn't get planted. This is absolutely massive. You can see Big, they're fully invested too, so same situation for them, but they have everything they need. They have the double orbs, the 3 rifles, all their utility, defuse kits, the list goes on. Round number 12 now. 3rd and final map, trying to find a place in the grand final. First shots rattled off by Smooya, nothing connecting.
Rain holds out from bottom of Boiler. Wants to try and swing in from the doorway. Meanwhile, Gob and Nex, tabseN as well, all holding passively inside of A. Bomb intentionally left toward the top side of alt middle. So contact play to start it off, and that's all. Interesting, the Nex and tabseN both inside of the site directly, not just library. tabseN's going to go that direction now. Scoped. Flash from Rain. Hillipird turns around, realizes that was going to force him off, and he gives up the angle instead, would rather go elsewhere. It gets awkward because they're so close to each other. They're almost tripping over each other in the site. tabseN now realizes they've gone toward the archway, but going that direction, so too is Smooya ready as he finds Guardian. He'll start to retreat back, but he's got the line covered off all the way to the corner and watches out towards spawn. Tagged from the tree. Aware now that they've also gotten Banana holding at the tree. A well-read play. He gets 1 more. That's about all it was good for in that position, but now it's all on to Tizian. Tries. Oh my goodness, almost got outplayed to hold off Carrigan. He baits enough aggro that Croman, is able to get the shot instead, but here comes tabseN back up all the way around as he went down. Banana tags Carrigan as well, catches him through the edge of the fountain as he holds off in new box. M4 picked up 46 HP. Time is his best and only hope with the bomb down. tabseN takes him out immediately.
Oh my God. The harsh reset comes in once again. tabseN, an absolute god of the game. Defuse confirmed, 2 orbs recovered. Bomb planted, but only $2,500 per player on the FaZe side. They're 9-3 down. They're going to force buy here. I've seen 2 MAC-10s already. Is this what's going to save them? I'm not so sure. They've had financial woes throughout this series, especially on the T side, but look at tabseN go. He's just not missing a single thing. as he put Carrigan to bed as well. You can see what it means to the young Brit there. Mac-10s, a Deagle, a UMP and an AK. And bits and pieces in terms of the utility, and they'll run into the double nade stack. About 300 damage is done. Smooya gets the first kill, and this is just going horribly wrong for FaZe now. They'll commit to the rush, but do they have anything left?
Smooya, he's immediately beside his teammate, but he's got enough of an aim to work it. 10 kills, or excuse me, 10 rounds from Big. If it was 10 kills, we might have something else. What a play from Smooya to get position, forced off by utility. And still he finds room to work. As FaZe, you said it took about 300 damage in Banana.
Carrigan seems to be floundering some of these calls. He's called Rush B about 6 or 7 times across this series. It hasn't really worked out at all.
Fun fact as well, Carrigan and Godby were teammates for a period of time on Mouse Sports.
Indeed.
And Godby was the leader for Carrigan, not the other way around.
Yeah, 2 very established in-game leaders, but one of them has a firm grasp in this series. It's the nades once again! Double nades towards Guardian. This is an eco, but still every round counts against FaZe. They've got double digits. Can they go one step further? It looks like they absolutely can. 5 versus 0. Nico will be dropped. An absolute masterclass in utility usage from Big being presented to you right now. Absolute perfection. As we go into the final round of the half, FaZe, they're clutching at straws right now.
Another member of that Mouse Sports team was obviously Lingia as well. Stood in for them, wasn't on their roster full-time in 2014 at ESCA season 14, I think it was. One more round in the half. Already well into double digits, might be getting a second one beyond that mark as well as Tapson starts off to take down Croman. 14 kills for Tapson, 19 for Nex. Goes getting ready to try and smoke off the archway. They've not at any point won Banana cleanly if it wasn't given to them. And now they can't win the mid-wall! Tapson absolutely destroys them once more. Tizian found Carrigan. It leaves us with just Guardian, who responded finally to the frags coming against him, but overwhelmed. Doesn't know which way to look. Damage every direction, including from grenades, as Smooya swings all the way down. 12-3.
My goodness gracious, Big are the absolute favorites right now to be in the grand final against Na'Vi on home soil. What a fantastic half from them. They win the pistol, and some strange economic decisions did actually yield a successful round for FaZe, but they couldn't find their footing. They didn't string 2 rounds together at any point in the half, as it's the smoke grenades, the AGs, are the headline acts of the Big defense. It's absolutely mind-blowing how well they're playing with just utility, and Tapson with AWP. Can't deny that either. He had some amazing rounds, so did Smooya. Got B of a massive 2 versus 1. And Matt, this was an event where FaZe were destined to win $1 million at the Grand Slam. Where is that team?
And on top of that, you're going against Big, who, in some people's eyes, are controversially invited. They were in a show match last year.
Yep, absolutely.
They weren't even part of the main event.
Just brought in to have some German representation in the building, and now...
Yeah. Inspiring for anyone in the
absolutely amazing
German league, but can't be trying to pursue anyone around the corner that he can spot. They're already made burrow toward Coffin's backside. Nico does move back out from the fountain now, but there was no one to find in essence. So they'll go back over toward A instead. Croman and Guardian both inside of the pit. No support as of yet. Reigns realized that it's subsided on the other side of the map, and he'll follow the weather patterns back toward A as well. Good shot from Nico, finds Tizian.
Must-win round, Nico. They'll open things up T-side now for Big. Definitely recoverable still, but got beat. He's only got that flash, no armor, as they commit towards the quad. 2 players went into the side. Great positioning from Croman, but not great shots. Guardian now isolated, the only player there. Can he get more than one? We'll have to find out. Reigns there in time, luckily, as he rotates in from the arch. Headshot done. Godby could go for the plant here. He knows it as well. That's going to send him packing. So at least they get a plant out of this round. But Godby's been pulling off some pretty unbelievable things so far in this series. Maybe he can find a couple of kills, but Nico, he'll be waiting around the corner. It looked like it was going to be an interesting play with Guardian alone on the site. But Rain arrives just in time, and it will be 12-4. Bomb planted, 2 kills found, and now you can see the favorites are absolutely big, according to our bookmakers. And we're going to see a full eco here, and AK's in the third. No strange, unorthodox purchases here.
So FaZe on the defense, get the guns to work with early. Next immediately takes things towards the ult middle. In fact, he's going to go to the balcony and try and get the shot toward the window at Boiler for anyone who dare get aggressive and get information early on with those SMGs, specifically in this case. M4 is very likely that they'll sit back and hold off more traditional angles, as Rain is doing toward quad, and Nico likewise is doing it. Banana, though, mind you, he is partway down at this point in time. Second deep smoke, and this is more what you were talking about, using that utility early. Yes. That's traditional. FaZe only have 2 smokes left. Now, again, they have weapons over the pistols at this point in time, but if that trend continues, God B will take every inch they're given.
Now remember as well, Big have been quite innovative in terms of their executions towards the B site, especially. They try to focus on CT spawn instead of the bomb site. I'm sure they've got some tricks for us and some treats perhaps. Maybe saving something as we go through the motions on this one. It's quite a simple procedure for FaZe up against the Glocks, no armor, but this is where it gets a little bit more interesting for them, as the AKs do come out, 5 of them to be exact. They will have smokes and flashbangs here. They didn't spend really anything in the previous round. Round 18, and it's Big looking for number 13 on the board. Most of these maps have gone the distance, one of which was overtime. FaZe on the CT side now definitely can recover, but look at the buy they have right now. MP9, MP7 is what you call a bonus round, but might not be the safest decision for them here.
Mind you, it will buy them some time if it pays off. Especially if they can pick up AKs on the back of these SMGs. Upgrade to them. It'll put them in a perfect position to try and close this off. Big are not out of the woods by any means, switching over to the T side. Yes, they've been can't say it the same. What is it, innovative in North America? I tried to copy yours.
Yeah, sure.
You guys did invent the language. I can give it some respect, but nonetheless, it is still the T side of Inferno. Good find from Tabson. Knows Kerrigan's transferred. Spotted the gun, hit the ground. All too easy at that point.
Keep your gun out, Kerrigan. And that's going to be the B site wide open, but Croman doing what he can. They know B's going to be clear. Tabson confirms it. He sits in the site now. Less than a minute remaining, 3 on 2. Round 13 is possible, absolutely possible. But Guardian, they have no idea he's here. He snuck through. Tabson didn't spot him. They'll have the bomb out. Oh my goodness, he hasn't got the kill. Oh, Guardian, it was unlikely to win the round, but surely would get a couple out of that with the opportunities he had. Starting to crumble now, FaZe.
Fantastic recovery, 13 rounds achieved already. First gun round went against them against a bonus. As I was mentioning, it would have been huge because then Big not only goes back to pistols again, but you get a 6th, maybe a 7th round for FaZe. Now it's just 3 to go. AWP not going to be on anyone's side. Guardians left on an M4, Croman the same, 2 SMGs. If Big win this, they're going to be on 14 rounds with no money on the defense. Smoothie up. Works his way into Boiler already with Nex outside at mid. Tizian also going to clear out the corner of the apartment hallway. That'll give Smoothie more confidence to then work toward the wall at mid. Smoke goes down relatively early against Guardian to try and hold him off, and that's smart because it is one of the M4s. They now identify that as well. I say identified, they would much rather identify that there is actually a lacking of 2 M4s and 2 SMGs instead. The wall. Great find.
My God. You see the gaps in those smokes? That's all by design, my friend. As Rain, he'll take down Tabson. I think that's all they've got, though. Nico in a 4 versus 1, and this was a force by a sword smash. Sure, they had rifles, but there was compromises made there. Nico has no choice but to save this one. The Grand Slam dream is turning into a nightmare quite quickly.
They have one more event after this to win it.
They had 2 chances. They have 3 wins in a string of 10. If you get a 4th, you get $1 million. They're about to lose one. If they can't make it through this game, if they can't pull this back, they only have 1 more event to try and win the Grand Slam. Big the ones to deny them. You only get denial money if it's in the final, so unfortunately they won't get the monetary prize for doing so, but they'll certainly get the pride, and I'm sure that's the least of their worries because they want the final. 2 rounds away, and everything looks great in terms of economy.
My goodness. Of course, FaZe will use their final timeout here. How have we found ourselves in this position? Big. A team narrowly in the top 30. Up against one of the world's absolute best on their journey for $1 million at this event. Semi-final seemed like the dream draw for FaZe. But they find themselves in the 3rd and final map, which has been a long and arduous series. 14-5 down. CZs, UMPs, and 1 M4 save in the previous round for series point, grand final points. Right now against Big, you can see Nico, he's looked dejected for a while now. Full buy, of course, for Big. It feels like this round's almost a given. It's going to take something absolutely monumental to keep FaZe in this game.
Deep smoke. So Tua return nade from Nex, won't bounce toward Kerrigan, who holds desperately with a CZ, hoping to bait in Nico's M4. Kerrigan peeks out, runs it, not even trying to bait it. Nico goes over his shoulder. He's got 2, making a 3rd, as he gives FaZe every right to win this round. He also wants to cement the ground, and there's to honor, because if he can hold off Bannon together, if he can get that deep smoke, there's guns available for anyone who wants to rotate over, namely Guardian, and he's doing exactly that. So Nico just wants to hold territory. The problem is as well, though, if Tizian can open up A while they're that far down, they're forced to rotate down middle.
One player coming from quad. Smooya does miss the jump, and that's a sound cue for Rain. Smooya, does he anticipate this? He'll have to go quickly towards the end of the apartments, luckily covered by the veil of smoke. He will smoke towards Library. But Rain's played this to perfection by the looks of things. I don't think they'll anticipate him. Tizian did quickly check him. The bomb will be planted. That's going to be his cue. And my goodness, Tizian is aware of it. 2 versus 2. It was 4 on 2 originally. And now Guardian and Nico will try and rotate in.
Tizian preemptively fires toward quad, knowing that Guardian's likely heading that direction, wants to bait him out. Wants to lure him into a false sense of security, thinking, well, he's already checked it, maybe I can strike, but Tizian still controls the broken wall. Smooya controls the fade inside of the site with his AWP, but he goes against Guardian. A man he has bested many times in this series with that weapon, but Guardian's on an AK instead. Bomb, it's too far gone, it's too far gone, and Smooya's got championship point, or at least a berth in the finals, I should say, as Big are 1 round at 15-5 away.
Absolutely unbelievable scenes here. That was a 4-on-2 map. Smooya just bested Guardian in a tight 1 versus 1. You can see Lagia now trying to get the entire crowd behind him. 1 more round will do it. It has to be the force buy from FaZe. CZs, UMPs, and an MP sign, that's it. What can they do here? As you can see, the celebration from Smooya. His first showing on this big stage.
I'm genuinely impressed. Okay, it's one thing to be, look, the glass slipper, Cinderella, all of that. It's one thing to be in a situation like this as the underdog and not look like you belong. These guys are reveling in this. They're enjoying it. They look hyped. They firmly believe in themselves, and it shows. Next trades off Guardian. That's the start of it. No guns lost on that either, because by trading off toward the front of Library, they can't attack and try and take back that AK. Nico instead has to try and use the UMP. With similar heroics and antics to how he did last round with the M4. Getting baited in. Smokes down, won't let him do so easily.
4-on-4, not a single rifle for FaZe available, but they do have the bomb site under their control. Rain, speculative shots towards the smoke, does land a little bit of damage towards Smooya, but this could be the play that ends it all.
Smoke down. Rain into it. Past them and turns around. Gives 1 to Smooya. Still there, a man down, and Nico strikes when he needs to, but it's Goppy. The man who's gotten them this far with tactics. 39 seconds. Knows that pit is clear, therefore can turn back around. Does not have the bomb. Certainly knows Kerrigan's going to be coming from quad, but Croman wants to peek on the back of it. He wants to force the issue, can't do it. Kerrigan puts him down, and it's now one more round at the very least for FaZe. 2 AKs picked up and money to buy.
9 rounds in a row required. That was so tantalizingly close. Only one player survives for FaZe, and not enough to really justify a buy here for Big, I would say at least. They've got 2 players hovering around $2,500. 3 could buy, but you've got such a buffer in terms of rounds to save the partial here, and FaZe a chance to stabilize. If ever there was a team that could string together 9 rounds on the CT side, it would be them.
Coming down already with rain inside of the apartments. Kerrigan and Nico crossfire passively holding in the site. Early exchange goes against Guardian. He's tagged to 41, no damage done in return. Looking at the front of library, Guardian continues to check it. To be careful because he's already weak. Goppy with the headshot gun available, but no one going that direction. You said it, they like to go toward the B side through CT. Nico just barely spotted Smooya because he could have easily been caught off.
There's only one player on the B side. They don't have a smoke for the cross, but it might not matter. Kerrigan hasn't got a helmet, Matt. These pistols are going to tear through him now. Still no smoke, but the backstab from Goppy. This could be the end. 3 on 2 now. They have 2 rifles, and the bomb is about to be planted, but both CTs coming from Banana. There'll be one player waiting for them. That's going to be next. One of these kills might just guarantee absolutely everything. He's done damage. Can he find anything more? Needs backup, can't get it. The bomb has gone down, and Tizian left in the 2-on-1.
He's got an M4 picked up, though. He's got the hold. First one's there! And with the little guns, it's a big round! The Germans find the grand final, and FaZe denied a grand slam. Incredible performance from the Germans.
That's got to be one of the most historical upsets of all time. My goodness gracious. Big takedown FaZe in a best of 3 and completely stomped them on Inferno. FaZe looked amateur towards the end. They couldn't keep up. They were mentally broken. And Smooya and his big showing on the stage, he rises to the occasion. He did go toe-to-toe with Guardian, and they found themselves in the grand final.
Simple wants a championship, and he's got to fight this crowd now. A crowd that I'm not going to lie, I wasn't convinced with yesterday being in support of Big. They've certainly won everybody over now.
Magical scenes.
And they know it. And I'll say it again. They believed in it. You could tell the whole time. It wasn't like they were the underdog. It wasn't like they were overachieving. They knew they were firmly in that game, and they held it together. Good leadership from Goppy and Gia in doing so, keeping them composed throughout.
Absolutely so. The calls from Kerrigan, though, you can see it falling apart as the game developed. Lots of B rushes, lots of scrappy buys, and I think that's enough from us, Matthew. What an absolute epic roller coaster of a game. Analysts, we'll leave it with you.
Doubted every single step. The underdogs have taken control of the Cathedral. Home team surpasses all expectations. German and British Counter-Strike players are in the grand final of ESL One. Let that sink in. ESL One, they say they cheer for great Counter-Strike, and this time, it's the Germans. FaZe Clan, their dreams of the Grand Slam disintegrate to the home team. Legia, he wasn't even playing, but he must be exhausted. The man jumping up and down every single round. And I'll let the crowd say the rest.
OJ, it's on you, bro. There is a God, hallowed be thy name. Talk me
through the emotions, knowing that you had just beaten FaZe and booked a place in the grand finals at ESL One?
It's indescribable. I mean, these guys were so amazing. Thank you very much.
The crowd was great, but the play, the composure you showed in that final map was intense.
Yeah, I always try to stay calm because I need to make the good calls. I'm the guy who's need to analyze stuff. So I always try to stay calm, but yeah, we did it together, guys. Wir haben es gemeinsam geschafft.
1 Minuten bitte. So that means a grand final for you guys in Germany as well. It's great to have a hometown team on this stage. How are you going to approach Na'Vi?
In the same way we did approach every enemy now. We will look to the demos, we will be prepared, and we will come gemeinsam and we will beat them tomorrow.
What do you say to the people who didn't think you'd make the quarterfinals, who definitely didn't think you'd make the semi-finals, who never in a million years gave you a hope of making it to the final?
Yeah, I don't like so much smack talk because we just need to say, yeah, if they think we are not good enough, we believing in us, they believe in us, so that's enough.
And what about this man next to you, Smooya? How well did he play?
Yeah, I think on train he rescued our ass. So yeah, he played amazing like everyone else. Everyone contributed today, and yeah, I'm just very happy. What can I say?
It was amazing. Let's talk to Smooya quickly. British CS is a thing now, eh?
Yeah, exactly. We're back on the map.
I love it. What is it like for you at this moment, though, being part of this team? As I said to Gobby, you weren't given a hope of even making it to this point, let alone all the way to a grand final.
It feels insane. Like, everyone's doubting us. It was lucky against these guys. It was lucky against... It wasn't lucky. I'm telling you, what we do in practice, if we play like we do in officials, we'll beat everyone. And as it showed today, we beat FaZe. We'll beat Na'Vi tomorrow.
There's a trophy over there. By this point tomorrow, what name's going to be on it?
There's big one. Big, obviously big. It's going to be maybe not easy. I won't go that far, but I reckon we can take it.
You reckon?
I'm really, especially after today, how we played today, it should have been a 2-0. It really should have been a 2-0, so I'm super confident going into tomorrow.
It should have been a 2-0, apparently. I'm going to give you this pen. I would like you to sign that camera. But you got to do it. You got to do it. Doesn't matter. Just write your name. Just write your name. Manrick says got a signature. You need to get a signature, my friend, because you are now a superstar. Put your hands together for this team. They've made it to the grand final, ladies and gentlemen. It's big!
I can't believe it. A player who hasn't even got his signature down yet is on a grand final stage tomorrow. From Britain, no less. He's just written Owen. Give him some time and work it out. Fantastic. Big have done what many considered impossible, and rightfully so. History, statistics, it doesn't matter. Cologne goes crazy. Janko, you were very much, justifiably one of the doubters of Big, but they have done what seemed impossible here.
I think, people who say that their wins were lucky, I don't really think, those are people who really follow CS or know CS that much. Their wins weren't lucky. Every win that they had so far in this tournament, they've earned it. They had to grind out games like the one versus MIBR to get into the arena and into the playoffs. And then you look at how they beat FaZe on 2 of the maps. You look at how they beat G2 on the second map. That wasn't close or lucky. They just completely stomped their opponents. So they outplayed everyone so far in the playoffs, and they have one step left in the grand finals, and that's Na'Vi waiting.
Duncan, Na'Vi waiting in that grand finals, and Big will be their opponent.
Yes. I definitely echo what Janko says. Like, they definitely haven't won in lucky fashion. Sure, there have been a lot of close games, a lot of grind out. They've had so many 3-map series, but they've taken care of business, and crucially, the way that they've won is decisive plays. They have never played like they were scared. Even when they were the underdog against massive names, they've actually made the opponents be the ones who made the weird mistakes. They've been willing to go for the plays.
I think the best example is if you watch this game and don't have which team is, on which side, you would think that the way Big was playing, that was FaZe.
Sure.
A lot of confidence. Did you see that pistol round? Let's just rush on the pistol round, right? We don't care. Let's just take it in your face straight away. Even on eco rounds, they were fearless. I mean, I don't know what, if you ask Gob what he thinks, I think his 1v2 on an eco that won them the game.
Yes, that was a
because
massive round.
that completely ruined FaZe. You could tell after that Train game, they were shook, but they were trying to bring it back. But after they lost that anti-eco, it was game over. You can tell players individually were feeling out of it. You can tell as a team they were lost. And it's actually quite embarrassing and shameful. A team as seasoned as FaZe with veteran players, and as a team they've been along for so long that they can allow something like that to happen on the big stage in the semifinals of a tournament like ESL One Cologne.
Yeah, that round, God B, bearing in mind, he's not there for the frags. 14 frags in total on Inferno. Those two, so damn influential. And the fact that Tizian, of all players, is given the pressure of a 1v2 for a grand final spot, and he converts.
Yeah.
It is just exceeding all expectations.
For me, the storyline for Big in this particular match as well has to be Nex. I mean, he dominated on the third map here. What's strange is people will probably not understand this. This is the reason why 2-3 years ago, when he was in Mouse Sports, when he was supposed to be the sidekick to Nico, this is why people were so critical of him while lifting up Nico. Because everyone heard these stories that in scrims, he's just tearing everyone's head off.
Yeah.
If you saw him against Tier 2, he was MVP level candidate. But every time he got to the big tournament, every time it was a major, every time it was a stage match, you could bank on this guy to go missing. And in this series, every map he was there. And he actually did essentially out-duel some of the best players in the world.
I mean, I'm looking at the series statistics here. Nex has the highest frags out of all 10 players. We knew he was one of those players alongside Tabson, who people would talk about in that regard, right, Yanko? I mean, I think the words have come out of your mouth before that there were expectations of Nex, and he just never realized.
I mean, just because of the history and what Duncan pointed out, you know, you expect him to like choke. He's bound to choke again. It happened time and time again. But no, and actually, you know, looking back when Kassad was the coach of Mouse Sports, when Nex was still in the lineup, he said, Nex is, I have never seen someone have like first bullet accuracy or crosshair placement as good as Nex, but the problem was, you know, communication or being lost in some situations. And I think actually looking back now in hindsight was probably the fact that he was forced to communicate in English, right? Maybe he wasn't as comfortable doing that. And now with a lineup that's predominantly German and under Gob B, I think over time he's become much more comfortable. And, you know, I don't know, I can't see the future and how he's going to perform in future tournaments, but if you look at this particular one, he's definitely playing on a star level.
And Duncan, it's so rare, and I mean, you watch so much Counter-Strike. It is very rare to see an underdog get so close map one, have it taken away from them, and to survive the reverse sweep. I mean, this isn't something that you see every day.
No, that's exactly where, if you are the underdog, normally when you lose, you say, oh, well, if we'd have won map one, then we would have had confidence, you know. What's mad is they were close to losing map two as well, but it never affected them. Somehow it never got to their mental frame. I don't know if it was the fact that they were underdogs, if it's this Cinderella run they're on, but there was an inspired quality to their play.
Just look towards Gob's interview, and, you know, when they asked him, you know, crowd and everything, it's like, yeah, awesome crowd, but I need to stay calm. I'm the in-game leader. I need to stay calm and make the right calls, right? You know, I think Kerrigan should listen to that and take a page out of his book, because imagine the round the Croman won on Train. That's a round that wrecks you. He should have died. Every single duel he won, he should have died, but he somehow pulled it off. What does Big do? They take it easy. They go for a double eco because they realize we can't fall into the trap of force buying, rage buying after losing this round. We need the double ops again. We need the utility. And they get rewarded for it by actually winning an eco. And that sends FaZe into just a spiral of loss.
So a conversation about FaZe for their future then. We talked about the Intel Grand Slam. We talked about that cool $1 million that would be up for grabs.
Can still happen next tournament.
And that's the conversation. It can still happen, but it will be DreamHack Masters Stockholm, their last chance to get that incredible amount of money and for to kind of at least make their quote-unquote era locked in.
And obviously, since we know Astralis is the dominant force, most people are still going to be picking them to be the team that win the next tournament. If you're FaZe, this one got away from you. You should at least have had a final, play against Na'Vi then. Who knows what happens? Sure, be quite an even matchup. But the whole way through here, I mean, Big gave you chances in as much as it's not like they were blowing you completely out the server, but you didn't take them. And by the way, that is fitting to not win the Grand Slam in this fashion, because that's the reason FaZe hasn't won the Grand Slam yet. They've been in so many finals, so many big matches where they were a favorite, and they have lost in similar fashion.
Crazy.
Weak, lackluster T-sides where they haven't been able to make those big plays, which would make you the hero if you were Carrigan.
And to add another point of FaZe, because they're out of the tournament now, we'll talk about Big more tomorrow. I think the problem for them is, you know, even if Olaf comes back tomorrow, right, the way they're losing games is not because they're necessarily massively outplayed or they lack a ton of strategy. Sure, that could be better if they add some and have a stable roster, but they are losing based off of the psychological game and mentality, and a lot of times they put themselves in more difficult positions than they should be in the first place. And that's something that's not as easily fixed if you just bring Olof back. Even when he was in the lineup, as Duncan pointed out, you had games like Katowice, Oakland, major grand final. They were losing it time and time again.
We're going to bring up the bracket just to remind you one more time. Natus Vincere taking on Big Clan for ESL One Cologne Finals. It is so very far from expectations, and I cannot wait to once again be introducing that tomorrow. The grand finals will be back in business.
This reminds me of Krakow, Alex. You know, Zeus on the other side of the bracket, beating Astralis in the semi-final, and then getting to play versus Immortals then in the grand final, you know, finally lifting that trophy. I'm sure Big is going to actually be a lot tougher opponent in that best of 5 tomorrow.
That is the trophy they're playing for. Big still doing their autographs and signatures. Perhaps Smoothie's perfected his by now. But either way, that is enough from us. We will be back tomorrow with your grand final. We will have a champion of ESL One Cologne.